This is the movie Hanna, directed by Joe Wright. It's about a little girl who's being raised out in the Russian wilderness by a man who is an ex-operative of some sort, KGB or something like that. She's being raised to fend for herself and be an elite killer, to hunt down the killer of her parents.
Yeah, her father.
Her father.
Something. Yeah.
Somebody was
her
killed,
mother.
and Cate Blanchett's to blame. So this little girl's been raised to kill her. The movie just escalates from there. She finishes her training, hits a button, and everything goes to crap from there. It becomes a big, great run fest, and she makes friends with this random, irritating girl in the middle, and
kind of hippie family.
Kind of weird hippie family running across the world, but all to this incredible Chemical Brothers soundtrack. So you can't go wrong.
Love that soundtrack. So far, my favorite soundtrack of the year.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, so I don't think there's much else to the plot, is there?
It's pretty much it. It's a big cat and mouse game, really, between Cate Blanchett and Hanna.
Yeah, just a lot of narrow misses, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think my biggest grievance with this movie is it assumes too much, I think. It assumes that you're going to accept a little girl to be a killer. I'm like, okay, she's raised from a young age. She's a hardcore stone killer. I can get over that.
Yeah.
Then you assume that this stupid hippie family isn't going to ask questions and is going to accept this random girl into their midst. And it just, it just keeps going on like that, where there's all those things that it's like, you're just going to take this for, I'm going to give this to you, you're going to take it. But I didn't. I was a little disappointed in it. But the actual pacing of the movie was great. There's some good action films. I kind of like this is weird coming-of-age teenager movie meets awesome action movie,
like a Jason Bourne.
Yeah, that's what I was. Jason Bourne, but as a teenager, he's ready to kill and has to discover if he likes boys or girls. I guess in his case it'd be girls, but yeah, discovered her to like boys, and it's just a lot of weird moments happen in this movie that are fun, which make it different than most of these action movies.
Yeah.
Because it's this little girl who just, she wants to make a friend, but then she has to kill a bunch of people. It's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of an odd language barrier in the mix that she doesn't talk very much in it.
Yeah, well, she speaks several different languages.
Yeah.
She's taught almost every language, major world language.
Talk very much.
But she speaks economically, as she does everything.
Yeah. So, which is probably the characters and that kind of stuff. But dialogue gets a little mechanical.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked it. I gave it a B+. Soundtrack is, I was going to give it a B-, but the soundtrack's so good I can't give it less than a B+.
Yeah.
So
it's a very driving, interesting soundtrack, and I really like the trend of getting these kinds of pop music kind of people, like Trent Reznor with Social Network, and these guys with this, and Johnny Greenwood with There Will Be Blood. They bring an interesting flavor to movies that a normal conductor score doesn't, and I think this is a really good soundtrack. Saoirse Ronan, who plays the lead, I think she's very good in the movie. It is kind of a hard thing to kind of chew, the concept of it, but I think she brings a lot of humanity to it, as well as Eric Bana, who plays her father, who trains her from birth to be a killer. Cate Blanchett has been kind of getting a lot of knocks for her part in the movie. Some people think she's overacting and she's hamming it up, and some people think she's great. I'm on lean toward great. I think it's a great scene-chewing kind of performance. She's having fun in the role, and I like to watch her having fun. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the movie we talked about last week, Fright Night, with Colin Farrell's performance. That's kind of a similar type of scene-chewing performance. I thought that the pacing was really good and the action is really good. Joe Wright's not really the type of director who's known for this kind of movie. He did Atonement and Pride and Prejudice. He's sort of known for these sort of stodgy British kind of art films, and he brings that sensibility to a fast-paced action thriller, and you get this weird kind of mix. And I think it plays out very nicely. It has a different kind of flavor than the Bourne Identities or Salt or I imagine Columbiana. And because of that, it has a certain kind of energy to it and a certain kind of directive quality that you just don't normally get with these kinds of movies, and I really appreciate it for that. So far, this has been one of my favorite movies of the year, and there is a lot where you have to kind of assume a lot, like you're saying, and there's a lot of conceit that you got to sort of go with. But with it being a genre action film, I was okay with that, and I also really like the whole fairy tale allegories that they make throughout the whole thing. Essentially, it's a retelling of Red Riding Hood, with Cate Blanchett as the big bad wolf and Hanna as Red Riding Hood, and even at one point she has to go to grandmother's house and all of that stuff. And it has an interesting bookends to the movie, and I think it's a great movie. And I would urge anybody who's a fan of, whether you're an indie house, art house kind of guy, or action thriller kind of guy, I think there's something there for either of you. So
Yeah.
I give it an A.
Good job. Actually, I had a lot of people not liking it, like come back saying they hated it because it feels too foreign.
Yeah.
But, like, it's got this weird kind of a German director feel to it, I guess. I don't know. But
Well, it feels not American.
yeah,
is
it
what
does. It doesn't
like.
feel
And by that,
American. So
it feels good.
So all these Idaho hicks are totally dismissing it here.
Yeah, we live in Southeast Idaho, so it's probably not for some people. But
Yeah.
I think, if you look at a lot of the action sequences, they're really well directed. For someone who isn't known for directing action, there's a lot of like one take fight scenes and stuff that, the camera's pulled back so you get to see the whole thing, unlike American action films where it's a cut every 2.5 seconds. So I like the kind of foreign quality of it.
Yeah, I do too.